This podcast contains discussion around depression and suicide. If you're experiencing feelings of sadness, depression, or thoughts of self-harm, stop and seek help now. There is someone waiting to talk to you right now on Lifeline's crisis hotline, 13 11 14, or call 000.
This podcast may also contain unintentional coarse language and political incorrectness.
Welcome to You Wouldn't Be Dead for Quids. This is episode 12 of the Augustella Fella podcast. This is where we discuss, hopefully with as little BS as possible, what life throws at you and how you can deal with it. I'm Ruth Geis, and here with me is the fella from Augustella, Graham Cotter, also known as Schitt's Creek Tour Guide. How are you doing, Graham?
Wouldn't be dead for Quids, Ruth.
And so today we are talking about spiritual connection when it comes to your mindset and, in your life in general, how important a spiritual connection is.
That's exactly right, Ruth.
And we're not talking about Bundaberg rum.
No.
No.
It does help at times.
Indeed. You can't be from Mount Isa and not like your Bundy.
No, that's for sure. That spiritual connection it's a critical part of everyday being, I guess, and certainly from the mindfulness journey, it's very, very important as well. That heightened awareness of who we are and how we are, and the environment around us, and the values that define us. But there's also there's that connection as to spirit, or whatever you'd like to call it. And I think we all have something.
And just to be very clear, religion, so don't go running if you think this podcast is about religion. It's about a spiritual connection. So religion and spiritual connection are actually different things.
Yeah. I guess the term religion is for me, I was raised a Catholic, and
with all those lovely nuns.
Yeah, with all those lovely nuns, the crows that bashed you and all the rest of it. And that was, my mum mainly was a very, devout Catholic. And, we went to church, and as I said, I was an older boy. But, the thing about it is, I sort of transitioned away from that, even though I did attend the Catholic church, probably into my mid-30s, I suppose, early 40s possibly. When the kids were smaller, I used to, endeavour to take them as well. And I went to Catholic schools as well, but the nuns have certainly moved on since then. When I reflect back on that, I'm genuinely grateful for my mum taking us to church and the rest of it. I've always had something else, Ruth. Do you understand what I mean? It was nothing you'd hang your hat on. It wasn't Jesus or whatever, but there was something there that was bigger than me.
I have a similar feel because I was confirmed in the Anglican church, etc. I soon lost my faith in pageantry, the rigmarole, the swinging of the incense and the hymns, etc., etc. Wasn't my thing.
No. Well, it wasn't my thing either, because I remember one midnight mass in Augustella, I was swinging the incense and had a bit of a nod, and I still see the priest racing down, stomping on all this burning incense. So that was so I didn't have a very good experience on that particular instance with the burning incense.
No.
I was sacked for midnight mass after that instance. Well, I certainly wasn't given the incense anyway.
I saw a meme recently, and it's a person standing in church, and the first picture is the person standing saying, "I went to church the other day," and then the next picture was that person on fire, and it said, "Went just as I expected."
Went just as I expected. Religion's been responsible for so much, pain and anguish and wars and goodness knows what else over the centuries. It's so. I think the religion as such and the spiritual side of it is, they're poles apart.
Yes, with respect to everyone's faith, perhaps faith is a better word than religion, it really is each to their own. There are many different deities and prophets that have been through history, and there's many movements that look at the mountain in different ways. I've always had it described as religion or faith is like a mountain, and we're all looking at it from different sides. So we're seeing different things, but we're all seeing something that has relevance and is worthwhile.
Yeah. And the relevance, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, is peculiar or particular to you as an individual. And I think that, what we do need to recognise is that there's something there that's bigger than us, and to be able to have that realisation that it's there and accept it and embrace it actually from a mindfulness point of view, because when we get out of sync with that spiritual side of us, that's when not so good things start to happen. Where I guess we call it our conscience, a better word. We all have a conscience of some shape, manner, or form.
And I guess there's a location as well. Many people feel at one with the world. They feel connected to something bigger when they're out in the bush. For instance, I think camping is a spiritual experience, not just because of the Bundy, but it can be just to be in that silence and feeling connected to nature. That's a spiritual connection also.
Yeah, well, definitely, Ruth. And that connection to nature is becoming more and more science being directed at that, because for the simple reason that that connection with nature has a profound impact on your physical and emotional wellness.
Absolutely. From someone's perspective, if you've been turned off by religion, you may have your own very strong faith, and that is wonderful. But if you struggle with that religious connection or struggle with that spiritual connection, a good way to maybe connect or listen is perhaps through a meditation or a mindfulness.
I don't think there's any one of us that can deny the fact that there's, for want of a better word, force field around us that's bigger than us. One of the reasons that I did go to church was to spend that time reflecting. And it was a peaceful time and not unlike meditation, as you say. I guess you could liken it to a form of meditation.
How do you feel that spiritual connection these days?
Well, I
guess... Is it in place?
No, I think it's with me all the time, Ruth. It's I feel it around me, and when I'm not in a good place, or I want to get to be somewhere, or something to happen, I'll say, walk with me, and I call my my Lord Abraham.
Okay.
And I say, give me a hand here, Abraham. I need a bit of a leg up here. It used to be Jesus, but now it's I've called it Abraham. So, and it's surprising. Just sort of, I for me personally, I draw a level of comfort and probably confidence from knowing that, there's some invisible being, guardian angel or whatever name you like, that's there with me. So I'm not alone. I think that's the important part about, the spiritual aspect is that you're not alone.
Yes, so that is that connection. The spiritual connection is about being attached to something bigger. Now, I mean, you might be an atheist or an agnostic, or you might have your own very strong faith, but whatever that spiritual connection is for you, it can be a very important part of just having a positive mindset and, moving forward in a positive way.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Ruth. And the fact that you know within yourself that you're not alone, I know for me personally has a very deep and meaningful aspect of my life. Just knowing that when you're aware of that, it's easier to cope with what comes at you on a day-to-day basis. You're not standing alone. There's your spirit or God or whatever it is that you define it, is there with you.
So whether that's in a church or a temple or out bush or a night at the dish lickers, maybe. I don't know. It's worth exploring because that spiritual connection can be there for you so that you never actually feel alone.
That's exactly right, Ruth. You know,
There's always someone on your side.
Yeah, and there's always someone got your back, and that's important to know, especially, you know, if you're not in a good place and you can reach out to that and make that, you know, to that spiritual connection. You know, you're not doing it by yourself. So, you know, underneath that depression is a healthy you. So, and having that spiritual connection can go a long way to helping you find that healthy you, by knowing that there's something bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
And it's on your side, just, you know, guiding you, and it's helping you, and it's always got your back.
And so if you would like someone to have your back and you're not necessarily looking for a spiritual connection, you can always make a connection with Graham as well. He's always good for a chat. I've thoroughly enjoyed this one as always. But that brings us to the end of episode 12, and we will be back very soon with another podcast. But Graham, for now, that's it for us. Don't forget, if you want to contact Graham, kissbusiness.com.au, look at what is rapid transformational therapy. You can book in a 30-minute free session just to have a chat, literally a chat, nothing more. And, you know, you can decide if that you have something to offer one another. Also, the other way that you can connect is following Graham on Facebook. So Graham Cotter, the Augathella fella. You can do the same, look up the same thing on YouTube and find some of our previous podcasts, but also find meditations that Graham has put up for all to take advantage of. So any last words of wisdom, oh Graham? Schitt's Creek tour guide.
Yeah, no, by all means, get in touch, and I'd love to chat to you. And I guess a problem shared is a problem halved. Yeah, be kind to ourselves, and if we you know, change the words we say and the pictures we make, and change your life. So it's a good world we live in, and yeah, so enjoy it.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Graham. That's You Wouldn't Be Dead for Quids. And remember, if you find yourself up Schitt's Creek, stop paddling and call Graham.